Hi guys from Yonkers Voice, and I am again Ross from Yonkers Voice, and today we have Bob Stauf. Did I say that good enough? You like the Stauf thing?
Well, I like the way you've done it in the past. It's unique, and we like you to be unique.
My accent.
I understand. It's cool. We all have accents.
So you guys know that Bob is an English teacher as well. So I don't want him to be correcting me every 5 minutes on my English. You guys got used to it, so you understand my accent. So let's just go on.
Very fine.
Bob, thank you for being here. Thank you.
I want to congratulate you on that merger that you had with Brian, the two of you coming together. You were the bloggers now that are coming together, and I'm sure that everything's going to work out beautifully.
That's a thing of the past.
I understand, but it's a win-win for all of us, for you
Definitely.
and him, and for the community.
And for the city of Yonkers.
There you got that right.
Bob, as always, our interviews with here at Yonkers Voice are unscripted. We talk about things. We don't have a script that we go by. We're going to say this. We're going to say that.
Right.
So
I'm hoping already.
I know. You are a community leader. You are a man that's been involved in Yonkers for many years. You know Yonkers inside, in and out,
right.
Basically. Let's talk about Yonkers as a community, things that affect the society, things that you think should be changed, or perhaps things that people don't know that they should know about how to go their merry ways, their lives, how to resolve issues. So let's talk about first the mental illness in Yonkers. Lately we have reported many people that have committed suicide, people that have done things, that hurt themselves. What do you think is the first signs of a mental issue?
Well, first of all, I think it's terribly important as an educator that we train young people, and everybody trains themselves to have a strong sense of self, to feel good about yourself. When I was new as a teacher, and I don't want to go on and on, but as a teacher, it was always my thought to make sure that every youngster felt comfortable in my class, with one another, first of all, and with me. Terribly important that nobody, when we had a story we read, Cipher in the Snow, nobody sees himself as a cipher, as a nobody. It's terribly important, very significant. And that we have empathy one for another.
But Rob, in school settings, sometimes there is things that you, when I say you, I mean the teacher. Okay? The teacher sees that sometimes the parents don't see. As an example, mom thinks that the kid is always doing good stuff. Oh, my kid would never do this. It's impossible. No, not my kid. But people outside that circle might be able to search certain behaviors. So you as a teacher, what is a behavior or sign that the parent should look for inside the home setting that might give them an indication that something must be going wrong?
I think, again, the idea that one has a sense of self, that one feels good about oneself, that is, a youngster is in your class as a student, feels comfortable being with you, feels comfortable being with his parent, and is not experiencing any difficulties with their fellow classmates. And I think what's also severely important is that we have more guidance counselors, for example, in the school system. It's very obvious. Should have been back in the day. Is fewer now.
Okay, but now let's fast forward this a little more.
Okay.
Mental illness don't just affect kids. Not only kids commit suicide. What about the older generation, the older guys that do something like that? What should those families look for to know that maybe my mother, maybe my father, maybe my brother or sister needs help?
Well, I don't want to get preachy about this, but I think spirituality is terribly important for people. I understand it's not exactly responding to your question, but I'm in politics, and politicians never answer directly. But at any rate, I do want to mention that I think that it is important for everybody, while they're having that sense of self, that they get involved in doing for others. If it's not involved in spirituality, it's involved in just being comfortable, helping and supporting others, so that they don't get fixated on their own issues. Now, in terms of what do we recognize in other people, much of that is pretty obvious, but if you see something, say something. You should really not be uncomfortable to suggest mental health specialists. That the fact that people are nervous and uncomfortable about going to a psychiatrist or a consultant or whatever is really very sad, because if you have a bad cold, you go to a doctor. All of us have mental colds at times, and that's what we need to do.
But don't you think that perhaps society, it's in part to blame for what you just said? Because as a man, I'm afraid to go to a psychiatric or a counselor, because I'm afraid of the database. Okay, now he has a mental issue. Now maybe when I'm searching for a job and there's cross-checks among databases, it says that Ben was been checked for mental issues. Perhaps that is one of the reasons why people don't actually go, because they're afraid the stigma that they will be seen as a person with mental instability.
There's no doubt about it. We had Thomas Eagleton way back in the day was a vice presidential candidate, and Jimmy Carter said he backed him with 100% and so forth, and all of a sudden he was thrown off the ticket because he had had some psychiatric help, which everyone should have at some particular point in time.
I agree.
It's a problem. Yes,
now, you are a religious man, I hear. Is that true? How important, Bob, is a relationship between God and man? How important it is?
I am involved with a group called Brahma Kumaris, which is a spirituality group, universally understood, bkwsu.org, for those of you who are taking notes. And if it's not religion, at least it's some sense of connection between oneself and other people, and the directed in terms of your relationship with God, with a higher power, let's put it that way.
Is it possible?
However, having said that, I do not want to suggest in any way, shape, or form that people who are agnostic or atheistic cannot establish some kind of a connection. But that connection still should be a humanistic doing for others, or it's not possible, I think, for you to be comfortable.
Is it possible, in your opinion, to have a relationship with God without the need to go to the church, temple? A relationship between one and one, me and him, no need for the middleman.
It's possible.
Do you suggest that, or you suggest that we should go to the church, should go to a temple, that we should have somebody else involved?
I would not suggest it, but I'm not going to be judgmental about those who make that choice. You make that choice, that's your choice. I'm not going to be judgmental about it. If somebody came to me and said, do you think that's the best choice? No, I do not. But just because I disagree with it doesn't mean it's not.
Well, Yonkers Voice is not focused on being judgmental about anything.
Good.
Okay, what we do here is we talk about issues that might relate to other people who are watching us, and sometimes you might say something that it might click on somebody's mind and say, I didn't see it the way Bob see it, or I didn't see it the way Jose or John or whatever, so it might trigger something. So we're not here to judge or pass judgment on anyone.
Right.
Now let's go back. Now let's go to Yonkers, city of Yonkers.
Right.
Go ahead.
And the stress, of course, that comes from daily living is becoming worse and worse and worse, and becoming much more difficult. Not that you're mentioning Yonkers as a reason to bring that up, but it did come to mind.
But tell me why. Why did it came to mind?
Well, because I think there are so many stressful situations. People are not as relaxed as they used to be years ago. It's just more and more and more. There are such tensions that seem to exist. People cannot disagree anymore. We haven't. This whole idea that we should be not worry about being politically correct has now given people the right to be uncivil in terms of their disagreements with one another.
That comes very close to what's going on. Tell me, in America today.
Yes.
You've been in America. Were you born here?
I was, yeah.
You were born here. If you don't mind me asking, how old are you?
I'll be the spirit of 76 in September.
You look good. You look good. I'm 58 or 59, something like that. Sometimes I lose track for my own convenience.
When you give your age and they say God bless you, then you're in trouble.
Then I'm in trouble. Bob, looking at America today.
Yes.
Are we better off today than we were yesterday? When I say yesterday, I don't mean 2016, 2015. I'm talking about before. Is America in a better place in regards to how we see America, the American dream, the politics, the racial friction? America.
I am extraordinarily disappointed with the way things are going today, because of the way in which we're being led. This is going to divide. Half of them are going to shut it right off right now.
But that's okay.
I'm just unhappy with what's going on in the United States. I'm just unhappy with the lack of civility. The lack of civility. I believe that it's the tone has been set in the White House.
Bob, come on! I gotta stop. I gotta stop you there.
No, you don't.
Yes, I do. I just did. But the economy is doing much better.
Yeah.
The economy.
Money is more important than morality and the way people work with one another.
That's right? Exactly what I was going to say.
I
Don't we have principles in America?
Yeah.
Don't we have things that are as important or more important than money? Does it make a difference if you have a job, if you are violated in every other way? What is your view on that?
Power, ego, and money are much less important than having, again, as I said before, a sense of self and a good relationship with other people, a good feeling about you and your relationship with others, and a higher power as well.
For what I understand, I have spoken to you a few times and I heard about comments that you have made. You are not in favor of the current president, or let me rephrase that. There is certain things you think should be changed.
Extraordinarily disappointed with the way in which
Okay, you said it. If I was the president of the United States, what would you tell me? What would be your grievance? What would you tell me that should be done differently? What do you think he should do to unite the people instead of breaking the people? Because my understanding is the president leads the people of whatever nation. That's the principle. You are the leader.
He's the role model.
He's the role model. Donald Trump doesn't seem to be that way. He seems to be dividing the people very well. Okay.
It's my sense, yes, definitely. Yep.
What would you tell me if I was Donald Trump?
There are other people in the world besides you, and you are not what it's about. And I always said the same thing I just said before. Power, ego, money are not the be-all and end-all. We're here, it's transitory. We're not going to be here that long. So start thinking of other people.
So guys, you heard it from Bob, you heard it from me. Economy is not everything that matters to America. Our rights, our principles, the things that our forefathers fought for is also important. And they didn't just fought for the money, for the economy.
Right.
It was a series of things that they fought for.
No doubt about it.
Let's talk about social injustice or social justice. Let's exclude Donald Trump. Let's just talk about the essence. How do you feel about that? Do you feel that whites and blacks and Latinos get the same justice in this country, or is justice has also a price tag to it?
There is no doubt in my mind that there is injustice, and we haven't cleared that up simply because we happen to have had a person of color as president of the United States. And unfortunately, what is now happening is that there's a resurgence of some of the very bad kinds of attitudes that people of my color have had to those who are not of my color. And it's unfortunate. I think making America great again is really, people of color have a right to suggest that we're talking about making America white again. And it's a disgraceful situation.
Rob, do you think that that racism can go both ways? That is white racism, but can also be black racism?
Yeah, the whole issue of social justice. I mean, if somebody is treated unfairly it happens to be because they're white, I get excited over that too. I was chair of the Yonkers Human Rights Commission, the Yonkers Community Action Program, with the Mayor's Community Relations Committee, but more so the first two. And by the way, I was the first vice chair of the Latin American Community Enterprise.
Oh, you are?
I was a token gringo. We started the Puerto Rican Day Parade.
Yeah.
Let's tell you. But that issue was extraordinarily of interest to me, and I will spend the rest of my life always being focused on this.
Okay, now let's rewind this a little bit and get off the news or issues affecting the country, and let's get to Yonkers. You think that Yonkers, you've been here in Yonkers for how long, Bob?
About 40 years.
40 years.
45 years.
Me too, around 40 years. I have seen many stages of Yonkers, the segregation of Yonkers, the bringing back new businesses to Yonkers. How inclusive do you really think Yonkers is or is becoming?
I think we're doing better in certain regards. We just really are. I think the other thing is, even with the police department, as you know, I'm the head of the Police Community Council, we're seeing much more of an effort to bring on people who are different, who are diversified. There's more diversification in the police department. There's much more attention to those of people of color in the police department. That's my sense.
Okay. Since you brought up the police department,
Right.
that's just one more question or one more
Okay.
point that I want to make. There is friction in the community between police in community or community and police.
Okay.
What do you think is the key or the solution or something that can be done to build a better bridge where the bridge is wider and there is more conversation and understanding, and to perhaps, if not eliminate, minimize that feeling that police is against this or this is against that? So what's the key?
I am aware that there is some friction, but I would suggest to you that over the years there is a whole lot less friction. And that is because there is a concerted effort on the part of the department to make sure that they learn more and more and more about where the citizens are coming from. And I happen to think Charlie Gardner, as a commissioner, is really writing in a good way, in a positive way, setting a tone of the police department to be more sensitive to the community than they were years ago, when they were even tough on immigrant Irish.
Okay, okay. So Rob, just to end this interview, I'm going to ask you two questions. You can answer them in whatever order you want. First, tell our audience, who is Bob as the man? You know, you have a lot of credits. You have done a lot of things for the community. You've been involved, you know, in many positive things. I know your resume. You have an impressive resume.
Thank you very much.
But those guys who are watching us might don't know. Mm-hmm. So you want to tell us a little bit about it? And the other question is, what's the other question?
Think about.
Now, you know, there is things that are coming up, Bob. There is things that you are working on. I want you also to talk about those things so people can tune in and see the work that you do, you know, your show that it's coming up. So in any order, please.
I appreciate what you said. I think one of the things, though, is that I have to avoid the temptation to start believing in your own press releases, because having titles and all those kinds of things is not really who Bob Stauf is. But for better or for worse, Bob Stauf is the guy who either lives up to the sense of community that he is intending to be involving himself in addressing himself to. It's not so much the titles, of which I have, and I have over the years had a fair amount, but my ability to kind of network, to bring people of disparate ethnic groups, different sense of rich, poor, everybody together, and my really reaching out and making politics work more for others than for myself. That's what I'd like to think is Bob. But again, Bob makes mistakes.
We all do, Bob. Okay. We all do.
Okay.
What about you?
There's a sense of sin that he must have. And the other thing is, there are two things. I would like to advise people that there's the Yonkers Emerald Focus television show for those who have Optimum. It's on at 9:30, Channel 18, and that's been going on since the days of Terry Zaleski, when he was the first strong mayor form of government. When the mayor was the strong mayor, right after city manager form of government. He never came on the show, and I used to do it all the time. We took a year hiatus when John Spencer took over, but then we went from municipal TV to community TV. 9:30, Channel 18, our first, we're back again. We haven't been around for a while. But it's been a show for about 30 years. So that's something that I would look forward to. The second thing I'd like to say is that we're expecting a fruition of the kinds of things that we're talking about. We expect in the fall to have Brahma Kumaris do Peace in a Park, and that's going to be where Bernice Breckman Center is, you know, and we're going to be planning that at the end of October, beginning of November. Hopefully you'll have me back and I'll be able to talk to you about that, but that's something we're really excited about. R.C. Poomer and Councilman Rubo and so forth. The Republicans are for peace too, you know.
Yeah.
So they're going to work with us.
I have great friends that are Republicans. But I have one Republican person that I know that I just like very much, with a passion.
I know. Some of my best friends are white also.
Oh. Now, just to end this, Bob, one thing that I forgot to ask you, but I want to bring it up.
Good.
The homeless issue in Yonkers. What do you think about that? Or what's the solution?
It's not, nobody has the solution, but it seems to me that it should be community-based. People should be getting together. We need to be paying a whole lot more of attention to this issue. Totally and completely. Everybody runs from it. Everybody knows. The only thing they know about the homeless is that we should keep them out of our neighborhood. And that's the poor neighborhoods, the rich neighborhoods. Everyone wants them out. And I think that there is a very strong need, even in the libraries, to have social workers paying attention. We need to have more and more people to reach out to those folks. And we need to remember that there was a time when that homeless person's mother was expecting great things. There's some very, very good people out there, and we need to pay attention to them.
So guys, with this one we end this segment of Yonkers Voice. Stay tuned for more. Bob Stauf and Ru Ross for Yonkers Voice. We are here for you. We focus on things that really matter to Yonkers, and we deliver to you guys. So check out.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Thank you.